Hi, my name is Shawn Shaler. This is my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter. And we are the Last Podcasters. That's last_podcasters. I'm like writing it in the air. Well, I think I was waving at you while I was writing it in the air. That's last_podcasters on Twitter and Instagram. We also have a Facebook page. Go check us out there. But what's most important is that you're here with us right now. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Today we are talking about Book 3, Fire, Episode 8, The Puppetmaster. But before we get to the episode, we are going to talk about just a couple other things about which I am very excited to talk because it's about our weeks. We didn't talk about our weeks last week, but we're going to talk about our weeks this week. Chris, how's your week going?
I'm going to talk about last week's this week that we didn't talk about last week.
You're right.
So
that makes perfect sense somehow.
Week's going good, I guess. Yeah, very good. So Wednesday, I saw My Hero Academia Heroes Rising movie, and I absolutely watched it in theaters, and I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. It's probably one of the best movie going experiences that I've had in quite some time. So
high praise.
The thing about these movies,
because you go to a lot of movies. I feel like that's very high praise.
Yeah.
Don't just gloss over that real quick. That's not like me going to the movie once a year, but like that's the best movie I saw all year.
Yeah. The thing is, it's one of those like fandom events, you know, those things, to where it's not like a widely released movie, but it's like they just pick a couple, like, I don't know, 100 or so theaters across the nation that you can go see this one thing in. It has a random showtime. It's like it was a showtime at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday. and also anime movies based off of like Shonen Jump mangas usually to me aren't that great because one thing they have to be inconsequential.
They word of the second consecutive week inconsequential. Yeah. But they don't because they don't want to disrupt the shonen storyline at all, right? Like you
can't disrupt it at all. But I think they did a really good job of having its own very standalone story that I think still pushes all these characters' growth, and also the action was amazing. So many things happened that were amazing in this anime. So it was one of the best. Like if I was lumping it with other superhero movies, it was one of the best superhero movies I watched in the past. Like I was just as excited to watch this as I was to watch like Endgame or Shazam or other movies, like superhero-ish movies I've watched. Another reason why it was like such a great movie-going experience is I didn't expect that many people to be in a theater, right? So live in a fairly small city. Once we live in a big town, small city, and so I wasn't really expecting like that many people in the theater, but the theater was packed on a Wednesday night, and like I know everyone there love My Hero Academia, like they love anime. Like when I go see Avengers Day One or I see any superhero movie Day One, I'm just like, oh, these people are movie people. They might not know anything about the comics. They just like going to the movies.
Yeah, big popular property.
Yeah, so it felt like really, I felt a lot of camaraderie. Maybe also because this one girl kept talking to me as if, I think that's just her personality, because she was talking to the people beside her and to me as if we knew each other for a while. She was like, "Oh yeah, I just dropped my thing," and no, she was really talkative. Anyway, that's not important. But
and I think also that's not a wide release, right? You mentioned, I think it is. I want to say it was in one of the theaters, maybe the closest one to. Don't quote me on that, Olathe-ites, but I do think I saw that it was coming to the Olathe AMC theater, maybe. Don't quote me on that, though.
Yeah, and I saw the dub version because I don't want to read letters when there's a bunch of action going on.
Same. Don't make me read. Don't make me read words. So,
they had the sub version, and they also had the dub version. I made sure I went to go see the dub version. I don't mind watching subs, but like, I figured in the big theater, I'm gonna do more focusing. My eyes want to focus more on the entire screen rather than 2/3 of the of the screen.
I am probably a hater, but I actively do mind reading subs because I am almost always doing something else, playing a game or typing or whatever. I can't read subs. Can't do it.
Yeah. But I reviewed it. It's out there. You can get my more in-depth, non-spoiler thoughts. You can also get my spoiler thoughts. So check that out.
Excellent. That's it. That's your whole week. One movie. And,
Yeah,
well,
pretty
and
much.
one
That's the
movie
highlight
and
of it.
two videos. And then we talked about last week. Your last work is almost done. Hopefully you haven't done it now because we're recording back to back. But I hope that you have found time in between then and now to finish that, because then next week will kind of be like our pre-Planet Comic-Con episode, when you will be dressing up in a costume that is related. And so I was like, maybe if he's finished, he can show it off on the podcast next week. That'll, like I said, that's kind of a pre-con episode. So that's pretty exciting. I don't have a lot going on this week other than that as you watch this now, I hope that I will be in Mexico on vacation, which is exciting because I like not doing anything. I like not having responsibilities and stuff. But I also don't really like crowds or tourists or seafood or people all the time. People in groups. People one-on-one, great. People in groups, not my thing. But very excited to go on vacation. Easily the longest vacation I have ever taken. And then also we are almost done with Community, and I think that season 6 is I feel like people don't know which one to hate more, like season 5 or season 6. That might just be certain things that I read online. I certainly so far hate season 6 way more, which is
yeah. It was a big cast change. I mean, Troy left, Shirley left, Pierce left, but that was okay that Pierce left. He was apparently it wasn't great to work with Chevy Chase on that show.
And I think that was not the first time that people had come out and said that Chevy Chase was not the best person to work with.
Yeah.
But that being said, if there is a movie, I hope that they talk him into coming back and being in the movie just to have the original cast. I hope. I don't know that a movie will actually happen, and I don't know if he would come back if it did, but I hope they would do it. If they didn't bring Troy back for the movie, I'd be very upset. I'm gonna say that 95% of the reason that I enjoy that show is because of Troy and Abed. Like, that's a huge reason. So, but no disrespect to the other 4 seasons of Community, which have become like 4 of my favorite. Season 1 is like in my top 3 or 4 individual seasons of television ever, anywhere. And then like season 2, 3, 4, like all great, top 25 or something.
Out of 4, I think it's 4 that gets the worst rap, because I'm pretty sure that's when Dan Harmon exited. I think he came back in season 5, and then he did season 6. I think it's season 4.
I think it's fair to say that there's maybe a noticeable difference in style in season 4, and then some of the ideas are maybe a little repetitive. So yeah, maybe season 4 doesn't stand up quite as well, but I'd still rather watch it than season 6 by a long shot. So anyway, about finished up with Community, and when I get done with Community, I'm going to go on to one of the many other recommendations that you've recommended to me that I have started and not finished. Probably Static Shock, because of the whole Comic-Con thing next week. So hey, that's our weeks. And what's more important is, rather than just hearing about our day-to-day lives, so we had another little like mini topic we wanted to touch on before we started into the episode. And that was that, Chris, you did a video a couple weeks ago now. Actually, it's been a while now, hasn't it? A couple months?
Yeah, it was the 20. Oh, I did finish it a couple months ago, but it came out whenever the 15th year anniversary was, which I think was the 21st.
Okay,
15th
so just
year
a few
anniversary of
weeks ago,
Avatar. Yeah, Antoine Bandelet reached out to me personally, just me. I'm kidding, and also other YouTubers. Antoine Bandelet, go check out his YouTube channel. He does a lot of like verse matches with Avatar. Pretty fairly big YouTuber, especially compared to me. Like, honestly, I was surprised he reached out to me. I was like, oh, I'm on someone's radar. That's cool. Thanks. I was like really honored and reached out to me. Anyway, he reached out to all these YouTubers and asked if we can do videos on who we would choose if we were the Avatar, who would be our 4 bending masters. So I did a video on that, and so did several other people. And so you can go check my video out on that if you want to get my looks at it. I'll just go ahead and say that my picks were it was Gyatso for air, Katara for water, Suyin Beifong for Earth, and Azula for Firebending. And if you want my more in-depth reasonings on all those things, go check out my video on that. I know Azula seems like it's out there. She's kind of the one thing that doesn't belong. The other three were like to me just kind of too soft. And I needed someone to like just instill a sense of just that killer instinct in me. Also, if there's anyone that watched this video that commented on that, thank you. A lot of people shared their picks, really great picks. A lot of people made me regret not choosing Jinora for my Airbender Master. She was close. She was so close because I was so close to just doing an all girls team because girls are cool, girls rock.
It'll be a killer team.
I was going to kind of relate them to my sisters. I have 4 older sisters, but I went with Gyatso because I thought Gyatso was he wasn't necessarily cool with killing people, but he definitely killed some firebenders. If you see his remains, there are firebender remains along with that.
Chris, so those guys probably just left their helmets and stuff laying around there.
All right, guys, let's just take off our chart.
These down, yeah. That's probably what happened.
The thing is, in retrospect, I probably still could have chose Jinora because Jinora would have been great spiritually, and Azula still would have instilled into me. It would have been enough Azula to instill into me, like, hey, dimwit, you can kill people every now and then, right? You don't have to feel so guilt-ridden about it. Which I don't want to kill people. That made me sound like I want to kill people free, conscious free. More like
Chris wants somebody to give him the green light to so we can just wipe that off his conscience for him. That'd be great.
More like I don't want to, because my native air element would be air. I don't want to feel like, oh, I don't want that handicap. All right, if someone is holding a gun to somebody's head, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I can't, and I can kill that person. I'm gonna be like, oh, airbending philosophy tells me that I can't kill this person. No, just do what you can to, I want to be Batman about it, right? From the Dark Knight trilogy, where he says he doesn't kill people, right? And that's a legit story factor in it, which is really the only Batman movie where he says legitimately, I'm not going to kill people. And he doesn't for the most part, but he ends up killing Harvey Dent on accident. Sure, he had to save Gordon's son, but Harvey Dent fell to his death. He, at the end of Dark Knight Rises, when there's an atomic bomb about to go off, he's completely cool with shooting his guns from, more like cannons, from his tank at the truck coming. One of them, like, you see it hit the guy goes back and he dies. Because at that point, you're like, hey, there's an atomic bomb. I don't need to be worrying about
He's willing to take a greater good approach in that specific context. I think we can agree with that. That's fine.
Yeah. But when it came to the Joker, he could have killed him, but he saved him because the Joker wasn't a threat at that point. So it's like, hey, I didn't have to kill him, so I didn't kill him. So that's the kind of mentality I want. So yeah, I kind of wish I would have picked Jinora instead, and I'm going to officially change my pick to Jinora, but that video's done. But that video's doing really well, so thanks to anyone watching that video.
Yeah, and go watch the rest of the videos that Antoine Bandelet has done as well, because he is just a generally very likable personality in terms of YouTube.
Yes, yeah.
I think that's really cool that he reached out.
Yeah.
So,
but since you guys, I'm sorry, you're about to introduce your own.
I was, but I'm still pretty embarrassed because they have to be the most boring. It's such a favoritism play. But what it amounts to is that I started with earthbending because I felt that was the most obvious, because I wanted Toph to teach me earthbending, because I don't think that anyone else is going to do as good a job at teaching me that kind of seismic sense. And if I had, and she also invented metal bending, so I'd be like, all right, teach me how to metal bend from scratch, like you learned. And so I just, that's very meaningful to me, but also a very boring pick. I want Iroh to teach me firebending. I want Iroh to teach me firebending.
You're basic.
I'm the basic of benders, and that's fine. I actually didn't say it. I didn't say it in the last episode, but I meant to. We were talking about Korra, and you were talking about fresh perspective, or me having a fresh perspective, and you mentioned yours would not be. So whatever level of clueless I am about, Avatar: The Last Airbender, you multiply that by 5. So whatever I am already, it's gonna be 5 in Legend of Korra, and that's how I feel when I was picking these, picking my bending masters. So, but I do want Iroh because I don't think that anyone else would do as good a job of teaching me to channel and utilize firebending in the right way, in a way that is a source of light and a source of life. So I feel like he would hit that the best. Then
Let me guess your water, Katara.
no, I did pick
Oh,
Korra.
okay.
I did pick Korra for water, but
Oh, okay. Cool.
but I do have a concern is that I couldn't find that waterbending personality that I want that was like a different level or brought something unique to the table. Water, I struggled with the most. Air, I picked Gyatso, but now that you said Jinora, I actually really like that because talk about bringing a very spiritual sense to learning how to bend. If you don't mind that I'm going to embarrassingly just copy off you, I'm going to pick Jinora now. That's a great
No, go
That's a
ahead.
great pick. But the water I struggled with the most, nobody stood out to me as bringing anything kind of extra or extremely unique in any way to waterbending. So I just picked Korra, like pure power and moves and being the avatar. I mean, can't go wrong with Katara or Korra, obviously. But so yeah, I'm the basic. That's the Starbucks mocha of waterbending masters picks right there. Is what that is.
Oh, and then it wasn't part of the video, but many people did bring up like, oh, well, what would you pick if you could pick a non-bender person? And that's really hard for me. Like, I told someone that I would pick Sokka because I just loved his character growth and how he found a way to really stand out amongst these freaking legends, right? And I like his whole concept of growing through humility. I did a whole video about it, but man, it's really hard not to pick somebody else.
We could learn swordplay from Sokka and Zuko. We'll learn dual swords versus single sword and boomerang throwing. Those are that masters.
But like Asami would be a really good pick. Asami's she's a genius, and her hand-to-hand fighting is really good. And also she can come with an electric glove. She'll probably hook me up with like cool gadgets and stuff. Like that's really cool.
Yeah, one of those neutralizer gloves. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed.
And then the other best pick will probably be Suki. She's a really good teacher. She taught a lot of people how to chi bend, or how to block chi. And also she's a great hand-to-hand fighter. So man, if I had to choose exactly which one, probably Asami, because she's just a genius.
She's the Batman of this universe. That's why she's the Batman. Don't limit yourself to just one though, right? Like, so you get Ty Lee, and I forgot all about you had mentioned before. I don't have any experience with Suki teaching chi blocking, but Suki and Ty Lee can have who the heck am I thinking? Like I said, Sokka and Zuko teaching you swordplay. Let's get some energy bending in here. Let's get Amon and Aang to teach us energy bending. Get what's his name to teach us spirit bending.
Well, now you're just grabbing everybody.
What is this? I want as many teachers. I want a well-rounded.
You just cheated.
I just want a well-rounded education. Get Varric to teach us about business. Huh?
I don't want Varric's business. I forget. Those are some great scenes, especially when he's introduced.
I love Varric. He delivers my kind of comedy. But
okay, my favorite Varric line is Bolin. He leaves Eska at the altar, and they're on Varric's yacht, and all you see is Eska like water bending towards him at them, like really angry, like her face is like all water and mascara and stuff. And Bolin asks like, can your ship outrun my bride, outrun Eska? And he's like, why do you think I built this thing? I don't know why that's so hilarious to me.
I'm a little ashamed to say that most of my favorite memories from my first watch through of Korra probably come from some combination of Varric and Bolin.
Yeah.
Just comedy. I'm a comedy person. I can't help it.
Yeah.
But really, I'm just using all these tangents as a way to mask my basic selections. But I like the Jinora idea. I'm going to cling to that one. Like, see, that's unique. That's different.
Yeah.
Ooh, can I? I'll change my answers. I want the dragons to teach me firebending the right way.
That's legit.
Yeah, let's go with the dragons.
Oh, someone
love dragons.
Someone saying my video or another video I watched, but someone said the lion turtles, because there's no.
That's fair.
The thing is though, so the lion turtles aren't teachers. They're just like, here you go. But I wonder if they could give you power to do other stuff. I mean, they did teach Aang, or really they unlocked Aang's chakra. They gave Aang the ability to energy bend, but maybe they can give you ability to do other stuff. Who knows?
Trying to think, we should have included some Kyoshi novel here. That's probably out of play, but we should have included some of that.
I really thought about including instead of Azula, I thought about going with Rangi, but I went with Azula instead because she knows how to lightning bend.
You want that lightning bend?
She's a master manipulator.
See, even with all that, even if I still wanted power, I would still lean towards Iroh because I feel like Iroh still knows how to do that stuff. He just doesn't.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd still like, but that's fine. If you need your green light to kill people, I get it. That's cool. I'm not here to judge you. Go watch Chris's video because it's 10 times more interesting than my choices and way better thought out. And then it'll probably lead you to those other creators' videos as well, also yes. Better thought out than mine. But thanks for asking me the question. It was fun to think about. With that being said, that's a really great segue. We're talking about certain kind of bending teachers, and now we're getting to the episode called The Puppetmaster, who is a bit of a teacher in her own right. In her own
she is,
sort of awful kind of way. The Puppetmaster.
All right, so the Team Avatar are out in the woods. They're telling spooky stories to each other. Katara starts to tell a story that's like kind of legitimately a little creepy for a kids show, I think.
So doesn't Sokka like fails first because his is really stupid, right? And then Katara jumps in. You're like, oh, that's kind of legit.
Yeah. And Toph, afterwards, you hear certain voices. One thing I think that moment did a really good job of is that Katara's story had to do with the Southern Water Tribe, and so that already kind of puts into your head the thought of the Southern Water Tribe, and this episode's really heavily focused on the Southern Water Tribe. So really good job there. And then they come into contact with Hama, who is the innkeeper. And yeah, she seems just Sokka thinks she's just a little off. Katara immediately bonds with her. And what happens after that? Oh, they go into town, and in town, there's kind of these stories about people going missing and stuff like that. And Sokka's still really suspectful of Hama, so they kind of search around and stuff. And eventually...
They don't do a great job when you're talking about Sokka being suspicious, is that they don't, and they probably don't mean to, but like, I think we as the audience all know that Katara is the odd woman out here and not being a little suspicious. Like, we all know that she's odd and she's going to be the focal point. I don't know if we necessarily know the extent, but we all know something ain't right.
Yeah. Yeah, so they find out that they're like trying to look into this box, and she gets there before they even open the box. And she's like, "This is my greatest treasure. It is the last thing I have of my home in the Southern Water Tribe. It's a comb, and it's like a nice blue comb." And they're like, "Oh, you're from the Water Tribe." And then so Katara immediately connects with her, and Hama gives her backstory on how she ended up in a Fire Nation. Which this backstory, it's really great backstory. To say the least. So, after, I think she said 60 years ago, maybe?
It was a long time. I don't remember the years, but
yeah, very long time ago. But the Fire Nation came in and invaded the Southern Water Tribe, pretty much just taking, which each invasion they just take more and more waterbenders. I mean, they're doing that because they're searching for the Avatar. Like, they think the Avatar could have been born to the Nets Nation, so they're taking waterbenders. I don't say that, but I'm assuming that or they just want to weaken the Water Tribe. Either way, it's a win-win for them. They either find the Avatar,
why not?
Or
you stumble on the Avatar and kill that one while you're over there, whatever.
Yeah. And eventually she gets captured, and the great thing they do is that they actually bring it all the way back to episode 1 of that ship that's deserted. Like, they show those waterbenders lifting up that ship, and that ship has stayed there as a reminder for the atrocities that the Fire Nation have committed. that's just really great. And I'm pretty sure they didn't plan that out from the get-go.
But what a
But
nice touch. I was actually about to
very
ask you,
nice
like,
touch.
you think they thought of that in advance, or they just, it was cool scenery at the time?
I don't think they thought of it, but sometimes
I,
happy accidents are good. I mean, it wasn't an accident that happened this time, but they're probably like, oh, we can go back and
oh,
say
remember
that
that
what they
ship that we
did.
had suspended in the ice? Hell yeah, let's do
Yeah,
that. It's
yeah.
perfect.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if they thought that through,
I
but
wouldn't be surprised either way. It's just fun to think about.
yeah, yeah. So Hama shows them that she is a waterbender, and Katara is again, she's even more and more infatuated with Hama because those two are they're kindred spirits. They're the last benders of the Southern Water Tribe. Like Katara looks up to her and idolizes her. And she says like, "Oh, let me teach you, my things. Let me teach you what I can." And Katara's just so happy to be taught by Hama. And so their first lessons is pretty cool. Like, she tells Katara like you can find water anywhere, which
The
I
first
mean, you
time where
can.
you're
That's
like, hold on a sec.
wait, what?
It's, when so she's like, you find water in anything, and then she does the sweep and takes the
Yeah.
water out of the big patch of flowers. And I don't know why this sticks out in my memory so much, but I feel like I remember the first time I saw this part where it's like, oh, they're just flowers. Gee, I was like, hold up, she's a witch. But in my head, I said it in a Holy Grail voice, the Monty Python. It's a witch. But so it's like simultaneously really cool, and also at the same time, you're like, Sokka was right.
Yeah. I do love when she takes the water out of the air and like just form these just uh bugles. Those chips.
The finger chips. Oh, I hate how they taste, but I love playing with them. Hate how
Oh
they
yeah. Oh,
taste.
you gotta play with them.
Yeah.
You gotta put them on your fingers
Well, I'm
and
not
just
gonna
eat
eat
them.
them. I'm just gonna play with
I'm
them.
not.
Ugh.
That's good chips.
No, I hate them. I hate how they taste. But I'll play with them any
They-
day. I'll open a pack just to play with some bugle fingers. I forgot she did that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Like that's some freaking cutthroat stuff because you don't like ice is sharp. You don't need a lot of it.
She's like
Like, oh
taking all
man.
those things that we saw in the cool Paku versus first Katara fight, and she like amplifying the cruelty behind it. All
Yeah.
these cool
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah. Gosh, it'd be really cool to see Pac. It sounds weird. Really, really cool to see these old people
These
fight each other.
old people.
Paku versus Hama.
I think you just found your next YouTube video, Paku versus Hama. Who
Ooh.
would win? Well,
Yeah.
let's make that one go.
Although I already think Paku would win because he seems just as powerful as Katara. And it seemed like Katara didn't need to know bloodbending in order to stop herself from being bloodbended.
I don't know how I feel. I don't know if I feel that Paku could learn bloodbending. I don't know if he's like spiritually invested enough in his.
He wouldn't learn from a woman. I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, so I give. You know what? When we have that discussion, I'll take Hama. I'll do what I can to defend an 80-year-old woman or whatever she is. She's probably 75. She's probably 75.
Yeah. And then eventually Aang, Sokka, and Toph figure out that those voices that are coming down are I think they go see Old Man Ding, which I feel like is like a Scooby-Doo reference for some reason.
I didn't think of it, but I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Is Hanna-Barbera that's not under Viacom, right?
No, but
That's
I
his
mean, I'm
own
pretty sure they were influenced a lot by Hanna-Barbera. I mean, who wasn't?
If you watched cartoons, well, in 30, 40 years.
Yeah. So Hama says like, oh, tonight at the full moon, I'll be able to teach you my best technique. And then, but people are going missing on the full moon. And Hama's like, well, two waterbending masters under the full moon. Like, there's nothing to worry about, Katara. And then she's like, yeah, okay. And then, and Hama teaches her blood bending. And, well, first of all, she gives her more of her backstory. Like, oh, this is part 2 of my backstory. And
This
she
is
says,
like the PG-13
yeah.
part, like to make kids leave the room kind of part.
Yeah. She's like, I was in prison. They steamed in the water. We couldn't do anything. But then I found out that wherever there is life, there's water. And like she was in there for years practicing mastering this technique. She would start off with the rats, which look like legit rats. They don't look like any combination of anything. That's
And it's just a regular
interesting.
old rat,
Yeah.
not a mole
Yeah, it's a
rat
regular
or
rat. Yeah. Or a possum rat. I do think they have possum rats though.
I'd believe it.
Do
It sounds like a
they?
thing.
Yeah.
I said mole rat, but that's probably more of a Disney thing, right? That's Kim Possible, the mole rat.
Yeah, Kim Possum. That's right.
Is that Disney or is that?
Yeah, that's Disney.
I was the naked
Kim
mole
Possible.
rat for Halloween in college one time, and basically I wore a pink T-shirt, and that's about all it amounted to. It wasn't a very good costume.
Someone just walks and be like, "Are you just breast cancer awareness?"
No, I
personified?
followed Kim and Ron around, so it made more sense in the larger group.
But her story, like the way this voice actress does is in her story, is just so freaking like haunting but understandable. And then, when she's telling her story, Katara's like, "Oh, it's you that's capturing all these people," and like the way she looks at her and with the camera comes in on Hama's face is like, "They took me, my brothers, and took us and put us in the jail and left us to rot. We have to fight them by any means necessary." Like, whoo, holy crap, Hama! Like, I get you. I get it. Like, you are the Magneto of slash Killmonger of this universe.
But like, can you
Like,
chill out just a little bit?
yeah, like I kind of want, I kind of want more of that. Of someone just like, no, F the Fire Nation. Like, I guess that's sort of like Jet also, right? But
Oh, come
Hama,
on, don't ruin it.
well, no, I'm fine with where Jet ended up at, but I kind of want to see someone. Oh, because he's, I
Sorry.
like. That's
Finally, he
hard.
ended
I
up
like Jet.
dead.
But I kind of like that thought of a villain who is whose reasonings are righteous, but the way they go about it is not. I mean, I feel like Legend of Korra did that a lot. Hama would be a really interesting. Maybe they can do that in the comics, not necessarily Hama, but somebody else who just has deep quarrels with the Fire Nation of like, no, they can't have part of Earth Kingdom. No, we deserve revenge. And
Something to the maturity level that we get from Kyoshi, but with some evil old
Yeah.
water bending former captives. I can see that. Let's just give Hama her own spinoff. We started with a versus match, and now we're on to a whole separate series.
How would they hold her? I don't. I guess you lock up her arms. Yeah, you lock up her arms. Sure.
But yeah, I mean, surely if she was really driven, would she just master like bending without motions or hand? But can you remind me, how did they give her water when she was in the cell just to survive?
They said they would steam in the water through pipes and stuff.
It feels like.
I guess.
I know, it just feels like she should have been able to use that somehow, you know?
Yeah.
But that's
I mean,
fine.
if you think about it too much, it's like, oh, she could have peed and
You couldn't make some bugle fingers out of that? Like, come on. Or so maybe she's just that cruel. She's like, maybe I could make like a weak weapon with these limited resources. I have my own urine and the steam, these like limited resources. Yeah. Or I could spend years learning how to cripple people from the inside.
Yeah. But no, that's a great backstory. So then her and Katara fight because Hama wants to force Katara to know how to bloodbend, and it's a really great moment of like Hama just like kneeling Katara down, and Katara being like so saddened by it. She starts crying, but then the full moon is behind her, and she's like the music swells kind of in this moment, and she raises up. She's like, "You're not the only one that draws your power from the moon. My bending's more powerful than yours." Which is really, really cool moment. And then Aang and Sokka messes it up because they outnumber themselves. Which leads to like a couple comedic moments of like Aang saying sorry for trying to attack Katara, and then the Katara like water bends him to a tree. And she says sorry, and then Aang is like, it's okay. It's like they just seem so
They're very aware
meaningless.
in the moment. Very
Yeah,
Midwestern also with their apologies.
yeah.
It is.
Oh,
It's
or
a good
wait, yeah,
fight.
was it?
I would say that it they kind of imply that Katara's bending is better. I don't want to say because of age, but they do imply that there's like an age factor in the bending prowess. In my opinion, they imply that, which is a little sad because
Uh,
you
I
think
didn't get that.
maybe not. I did feel like Boomy is what 110, and he still carries himself with the confidence of an arrogant like peak
Yeah.
best bender, that the most powerful bender you'll ever see. To quote him. And so it's like clearly age doesn't necessarily impact bending skills and abilities, but I thought in Katara's comeback it felt like they kind of weighed the age a little bit, but maybe not. I don't know. I'm probably overthinking it. It's fine. It's a good fight. That's all that really matters. It's a good fight.
Yeah, no, really good fight. It's kind of short-lived though, but that's fine. You don't need to see Katara beating an old lady for that long. She already
It's
took a really long time
it
getting
is
beat
short
by an old
lived.
man.
There's no B plot in this episode really either, unless I'm just totally forgetting a small B plot. I don't think there's really
No.
one. But there is a lot of different things that happen in this episode. Like it's a pretty not big in terms of
Well,
scope,
it's
but a
sort of
big
B
story in
plot,
terms of
because I think
is
it's
there a
sort
B
of B
plot?
plot because Aang and Sokka and Toph are off investigating this thing.
Yeah,
And
they're the B plot.
yeah. While in the
It,
last one, it was like really all one plot.
but this all just still feels like one sort of big story, but it's I don't know, it's almost more of a story than we necessarily always get in terms of every minute is used to develop this story a little further, that almost a ghost story of sorts. Not a lot of wasted time or wasted effort. I don't know. I always appreciated how much detail went into the larger story in this one.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of detail. Yeah. And then so at the end of the fight, um, Hama is going. Jeez, my dog just like walked over all these comic books I have on the floor. Anyway, so disrespectful.
Disrespectful.
Um, get out. Anyway, uh, Hama's about to get Aang and Sokka to attack each other, and pretty much it's the sword that's gonna just impale Aang, I'm sure. And at that moment, Katara bloodbends Hama. You're like, hey, congratulations, Hama, you won. Which is a really interesting thing as a villain. Like the villain, it's kind of like Joker wants Batman to kill him. Right? Joker loses, but he wins.
It's
In
very
this case,
Star
Hama
Warsy.
loses.
Yeah, it's very Star Warsy.
Yeah. In this case, Hama loses, but she wins. She passes down her, her heritage and her kind of evilness down to Katara, which is really, really cool.
It definitely piques your interest. Like, oh, is this going to come back later? Well, piques is the wrong word. Like, I think at least I was probably curious through the rest of the series. Like, when's she going to pull that out?
Yeah.
No spoilers.
And then
for this 15-year-old TV show, no spoilers here.
Yeah. And then at the end there, Hama says, "Congratulations, Katara, you're a bloodbender." I kind of like how no one else is just like, "What does that mean?"
I think they got a pretty good idea of what.
Yeah, you'd think they would, and they'd be like, "Wait a minute, does that mean she's a waterbender? Why is a waterbender here?" Or they're just like, "Hey, she saved us. Whatever. Thanks. We were going to ride in there forever."
She got some new crazy moon power. We're not even going to ask about it.
Yeah. We're just going to call this Even Steven and just keep it going.
They're just like, they're helpless Foot Clan guys. Those guys don't know anything. Yeah. In an Austin Powers movie, they're the anonymous henchmen.
And essentially, that's episode. It does not end on a high note. It just ends with Katara crying, and kind of saddened by what she had to do, which is reach into another person's body, and she's saddened by that power. Although, I chose her as my bending master, and I said she won't teach me blood bending. Although I would be fine with blood bending.
just in case people get on your nerves and you got a little Got a little lightning
Like,
bend, blood bend, make sure they're dead for real, you know?
I don't know. Like, how much worse is that than me hitting someone in the head with a rock?
That's
I mean,
fair.
it is worse, but
But,
I'm like, hey, you utilize it.
you know, blood bending is probably the safest way that, like, you could control somebody without killing them. You being a bloodbender,
Yeah,
that could be merciful. Just saying.
yeah. You can easily immobilize people. Just make
Yeah.
them.
For their
I'm
own
pretty sure you can.
safety, you can do it. Chris, we
Yeah.
have to learn bloodbending. It's our responsibility
I mean, I
as
still wouldn't.
peacekeepers.
So Katara was like easily my choice for waterbending. There really wasn't a second.
Now
But
I'm
if I
changing
had
my
to,
mind.
if
Now I want
wanted,
to go to Katara.
no, I'm not changing my mind.
I want to
But
be
if
a
I wanted,
bloodbender.
if I wanted a bloodbender, I wouldn't choose Amon. You would think Amon would be the good choice because he's the best bloodbender there is. But I would choose his brother, Tarlok, because I think Tarlok is a better waterbender. His waterbending skills are really good. Where I feel like Amon doesn't utilize his waterbending really at all, and he's probably kind of rusty at it. He's like really amazing at bloodbending, but when it comes to waterbending, he doesn't seem all that. He's probably great, but I think Tarlok's probably a better waterbender.
I
Like
know
he
it
was
makes
going toe to
me
toe with Korra.
it makes me a bad fan, but I keep when I think back to Amon, I always forget that it is water. I always think of energy bending first because I'm dumb. But you're right, it is. I got to get back into those. But that'd be a good choice. I could see like Amon has to pose this whole time as a non-bender, essentially. Like, yeah, he probably doesn't do a lot of water bending practice in his spare time.
Yeah,
I dig that argument.
yeah, yeah. So that's the episode.
Yeah, solid.
So my ratings:
Oh, it's
audio, visual, an 8. I think the fight between the two are really good. I think the voice acting was pretty good by Hama. And just the way she tells her story. I don't know who's voice acting for
it's
that
a
role,
voice
but
that we know, like we hear it in other cartoons. And
yeah,
stuff. I can't place it, but it's like Azula's voice actress. It's somebody that we hear other places.
Yeah. Always test my daughter out, like make her kind of appreciate voice actors. Today she was watching Legend of Korra Book 4, and oh my gosh, the waterbender with no arms. Why can't I remember her name? Why can't I remember her name? I think it's Hua. Anyway,
You're
she's
asking
voiced
the
by
wrong
Greedo
guy.
Al Griffin, who voices Azula. And I asked my daughter, I was like, she voices somebody else. Who do you think she voices? I was like, just close your eyes and just listen. She was like, oh, she voices Zuko's sister. I was like, oh, good job, man.
If she'd have said Icky Vicky from Fairly Odd Parents, I would have been very impressed.
Well, she's not, in her 20s. She doesn't know what Fairly Odd Parents.
That's fair. That's another show where like the first 2 seasons I absolutely love.
I never got that too much into Jimmy Neutron.
I never did much Jimmy Neutron, but I did a lot of Fairly Odd Parents. I think Rugrats is the one that other
I'm
people
sorry,
liked
I meant Fairly
didn't.
Odd Parents, but I get those two are easy to mix up.
They're same time frame.
Yeah, they had crossovers and everything.
Other people liked Rugrats and Doug, and I did not like either of those. Like, those are my wife's 2 favorite, probably childhood cartoons, and I wasn't into it. For the record, Chris, you are looking up the Hama voice actress at this time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss something, and you're just like, I'm done with this podcast. I'm over it.
So apparently, yeah, I'm just going off. Crap.
I went to Bejeweled.
I went to the Avatar wiki, which doesn't really help all that much. But she also voiced Avatar Yang Chen, apparently, so that's interesting.
Oh, nice. That was a good 5 seconds.
Her name is Tress MacNeille. Let's see what other things she did while I do. So the. I'll just email her. Not email her. I'll email her, ask her what roles she did.
Friend of the show, what other things have you done?
Okay, so she was on... Gosh, man. Just looking at her list. She was on The Simpsons at some point. Okay, let me look up her IMDb, because it must be interesting. Because she was also on Futurama, Animaniacs, Tiny Toons.
Is she Seymour's mom? Or, yeah. Huh, I bet she is.
Okay, IMDb is coming up.
I love Tiny Toons and Animaniacs, so hit me up when you find out which character she was in those. It's like two of my favorites. I love Warner Brothers, which, that's funny. You like DC, and I mean, I like DC, but in the context of liking Warner Brothers. Also, Harry Potter, Warner Brothers. That's Harry.
Oh, ooh, wow. This is okay. So, in The Simpsons, she was Agnes Skinner. That's not that impressive. I'm assuming she was Mrs. Skinner's mother or something.
Yeah, Seymour's mom.
But so this is interesting. She was Dot in Animaniacs.
What?
I know, right?
Hold on, I gotta take my headphones out and just think about this. Okay, I can kind of hear it.
That's interesting. Yeah, wow.
Color me impressed.
She only has like 4 that she's actually known for. And Futurama, she's Linda, mom. That makes sense.
That's right. Yeah. That's
Hattie,
probably where I know her best, honestly, would be mom. I'm not a huge Simpsons fan, but I do love Futurama.
yeah. Oh, apparently she's been in PJ Masks. I'm surprised I haven't recognized her there. I've been watching a lot of PJ Masks.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a kids show and they're like little superheroes. Hence the.
That sounds like a Chris's kids kind of show.
She puts in a lot of work. She has been busy, to say the least. So good for her.
She does good work here, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I probably know her best as mom. The Dot thing, the Dot surprises me. I would not have picked her out as Dot, but when I tried to when I took my headphones out, tried really hard to think about it, picture the voices, I can hear it. I would never have guessed it though. I'm not going to take that much credit.
Yeah. And let's see. She was in Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. She voiced an old Selena Kyle. That makes sense. I don't see anything else that's particularly of interest to us at the moment, but she's done a lot of great work. Yeah, she Avatar: Last Airbender. She voiced Yang Chen, Hama, and some additional voices. She was in the Boondocks. Of course she was. Things I say, of course, she was because Andrea Romana, who's the voice coach, the voice director, like was a voice coach for so many things: the Boondocks, Batman the Animated Series, Avatar: Last Airbender, Legend of Korra. So if you have a favorite cartoon, she probably did the voice.
That's a really good repertoire of cartoons you just rattled off there too.
Static Shock,
high-end voice work.
Yeah. But all right, yeah. So that's some of her. Oh yeah, she did some stuff in Rugrats apparently. Charlotte Pickles. Wait, what?
No way. For real?
Yeah, apparently she was. Yeah, Charlotte Pickles. That's interesting. That's harder to hear.
That is. I can't.
No. Well,
is Charlotte like grandma and not actually mom? Maybe we're thinking of the wrong person.
No, Charlotte Pickles. Angelica's mom, who was like always on the phone and busy.
Yeah, I can't.
I can kind of hear it the more I think about it now.
Oh, man. I guess I can compare it closer to Dot than Hama.
Yeah. Wow, this lady has a very great career. Very great career. Anyway, wow, we went off on a good little tangent there. So Tress MacNeille, I think.
We learned something new. Tress, we got to reach out to her and make her a friend of the show. Got to get her on the show sometime.
All right. So yeah. Anyway, audiovisual an 8. She did a great job on the voice acting. Story 8.5. I mean, she really enforced a lot of the story here. Her backstory is so good. 8.5 there. For memorable, it gets an 8.5. One thing, bloodbending is introduced, which is one of the creepiest. It really took waterbenders up a level in terms of like, oh, maybe waterbending is the most lethal of all the bending techniques.
I can see that.
So, yeah. So that brings out to an 8.3.
Solid episode. Chris, something happened that doesn't happen very often. I'll just spoil it right here. Same ratings. But
that was a loud dude.
but no, that's cool. When I should look back and see how many times it's happened. I'm gonna guess like maybe twice tops. If I could, after we've talked about the episode, I would lift audiovisual up to like 8.5, just because there's a lot of cool imagery and a lot of cool music. 0.5, not that big a difference. But Chris, I'm trying to be independent here. No, but that being said, there is a ton of cool imagery and different music and things that I probably didn't give enough credit to. It's really good. Story, I hinted at earlier. I really like how much detail and how much story. This feels like a full story. That just works as an episode, and as you mentioned, you kind of get a B plot, but even that's tied into the story. That's not a separate Zuko Iroh B plot. It's all in one small little story universe here, and it's really good. It is memorable. You get bloodbending, good fight, a little comedy in there, and that brings it out to 8.3. You might be able to guess that's 8.3. That's a pretty good episode. Here, Katara's like shocked at herself. Wanted to end with that one because she's like surprised, but she's not. What's the word? She doesn't look mad or sad or anything yet. Right now, she's just like, oh, it works.
Disappointed?
Yes, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. No, I get that. Like, when you don't expect something to work the first time, and it does work the first time, you're like, oh, hey, how about that? That's what she looks like right here to me. And, yeah, that's the Puppetmaster. That's a solid, as far as episodes that could be placed just about anywhere go, this is a real good one. I don't like to call it a filler episode because it doesn't feel like filler, but you could throw it a lot of places as long as they're in the Fire Nation, and as long as Katara not yet knowing waterbending was wasn't a situation they could escape where if she knew waterbending. But it's not an inconsequential episode, that's for sure. It's a very good episode. So, but as I also mentioned previously, we are getting to the point where we're getting away, or at least close to the end of these kind of not one-off episodes, but sort of tangential episodes. We're about to ramp up real heavy and stuff gets exciting. So that's my terrible teaser for the weeks to come. So join us next time. Next time we will have a little pre-Planet Comic-Con. I don't know if we'll do anything specific for it, but it will be the day before Comic-Con. Planet Comic-Con for us here in Kansas City. And so we'll think of something themely to do for that. And in the coming weeks after that, we're getting towards the end of the series. Chris, any final thoughts to wrap up before we shut down?
Nope. Thank you all for listening, watching, comment, whatever. Do stuff, support the channel, support the thing. Give us a review on iTunes, I guess. That's cool.
Yeah.
I hear people ask for that on podcasts that I listen to.
I gotta be honest,
Sometimes
I haven't
talk
even
about
checked.
5 minutes about doing that.
I can't even say that I've checked what reviews are, but I would like to see if there are reviews, and if there's reviews from people, maybe I'll shout those people out. Even if they're bad reviews, if they're kind of constructive, I'll still shout those people out.
You will.
Maybe.
Or I will.
Yeah, whatever. Somebody will shout you out. I like knowing that people listen to us. In the meantime, my name is Shawn Shaler. That's Chris Ford. He's the Objective Geek on Twitter and YouTube, and you can also find the podcast stuff we post lightly to social media at last_podcasters, and we have a Facebook page, so go visit us there. Thank you very much for watching, listening. Hopefully, I hope people that use YouTube don't just watch our faces and our occasional notes. I hope they're mostly listening. But either way, thanks for participating. And this has been Last Podcasters. We will see you next time.